A year and a half ago, I visited Addis, and typically what they would do is they would use wooden lattice work for a lot of the scaffolding. Here's an example. After 1.5 years, the progress that's being made in Addis, they're using metal lattice work, more like in New York and other large cities. It's very impressive seeing how they've made this transition, and I think it's just an indication of how things are changing in Ethiopia. And here, a building right behind me has the same situation, where instead of using wooden structure to create an elevator, they have a metal elevator to make it much more efficient. Typically what they did here is they would have people climb up the lattice work in order to bring the building material. And you can see here, this elevator type system makes it much more efficient. And you can see right next to it is some of the older lattice work that they've done, that they're still using here. But I think this is going to be replaced very soon, probably in a couple years. All you're going to see is the metal lattice work because it's much more efficient. And you can see here, this is really efficient. It's more the European style lattice work that could be very good. And this is just an example of some of the construction here in Ethiopia. But I'm very impressed with the progress being made. Not too far from the center of the city in the Bole district near Edna Mall, they're going to be building a brand new Marriott. This is an example of how Addis Ababa is just growing tremendously fast. The growth rate in Ethiopia right now is about 10%. You can even see the homes here are just beautiful. Modern homes owned by a lot of diplomats. And here is a closer look at the Marriott, picture of the Marriott and how it's going to be. And as I mentioned in another part of the video, there's a lot new, more modern construction that's going on, and using more modern means of construction. Now, about a year and a half ago, they would not use an elevated system to transport materials from the ground floor to the very top of the buildings or throughout the various parts of the building. Here's an example of a building that's using an elevator system to transport materials, thus making construction much more quickly, making the construction process faster. Because here in Ethiopia, it just really takes a long time to build a building. But right now, in this area near Menda Halem Church, it's a very popular area. Hotels are being built constantly, and they want the hotels built more quickly rather than like a year, 2 years, 3 years. They want it done much more fast, much more quickly in order to produce better revenue. And again, this is an example of the new modern construction techniques that are being used here in Ethiopia. And it's really impressive seeing that. This is a closer look at the new hotel going up. And you can see here again the elevated system or elevator system that they're using. A much more modern technique. 2 years ago, they would have people carrying materials up on their backs from one floor to the next. But this, as I mentioned earlier, is going to make the construction of this hotel done much more quickly. And here again, you can see in the distance in this building where they're using metal poles for the scaffolding. That also is the innovation too, because that was not being used before, and that's because metal is very expensive, and they were reluctant to bring the metal in from overseas because they really don't make the metal here. This is an example in the distance of the old system that was being used for like just wooden poles, and it works. It's very strong, it works, but I think as Addis and as Ethiopia progresses, they want to use more advanced techniques to create new buildings and new developments. And as I mentioned before, growth rate in Ethiopia is tremendous. And that's why they need faster means of construction to address the needs of the construction industry. And here again is everything in perspective. This is the Edna Mall area on February 1st, 2016. You can see the transformation. I did a video of this area in July of 2014, but this whole area is really changing. You can see the hotels going up and other buildings going up. It's almost like mushrooms. And all over Addis, it's the same dilemma where there's all this new construction going on. And as I mentioned, for construction, it's about a 10% growth rate in Ethiopia. So that means that construction is necessary to keep pace with the way things are changing. And in the year and a half that I was absent, you can see the difference of how things are and how it's like really a great place just to be in this whole Medhane Alem area. And really, really nice. This is a 300-room hotel. It's going to be the Radisson Blu in the Boli area. What a great job they're doing on this. I filmed this a year and a half ago, and it was a lot of wooden scaffolding. Now they're using the steel scaffolding, which is a great change. And throughout Addis, you see this change going on, where a lot of new construction techniques are being used. I think it's in order to speed up the construction process, because before it was a little bit slower construction process. Again, in some other big cities, a lot of these projects would be done like within a year and a half. But this is a very nice project. You can just see all the work that's being done and how detailed the construction technique is. And I think it's going to be a magnificent hotel. It's going to have a swimming pool inside. And this just adds to the number of hotels all along Cameroon Street. You can see here in the distance, Friendship Hotel, very nice hotel. All the other hotels that are here. And there's the hotel called the Monarch, right there, which has a swimming pool right next to it. And again, let's take a look down Cameroon Street, and then we'll take a look where this hotel is being built. 300 rooms, as I said. And then as you look on the street, you can see all these other hotels being built and the hotels that are here. And there's another hotel in the distance that's being constructed. And here we have the Caleb Hotel. So, and a whole number of other hotels down here. Now, this is very close to Edna Mall. And it's one of the ideal locations for tourists to be, because it's like about a 5-minute car ride to the airport. Very, very convenient. And in addition to this area, there's also a lot of hotels being built right next to the airport. So I recommend, if someone were to visit Addis, you have the choice of the Sheraton, the Hilton, a number of the other hotels near the area, or like this area on Cameroon Street, or near the airport. A lot of choices, but I think because Addis is becoming the hub of Africa for fashion, for business, for diplomacy, a lot of people need more hotel rooms, and that's why there's so many new hotels being built, because of the demand and because it's a great investment opportunity for many of the people building the hotels. Really a great place to be, and I can't wait to see this hotel completed, because it's going to be a magnificent hotel, the 300-room Radisson Blu.